What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope we're all off to a great start this week, and welcome back. So today we got a lot to talk about because we kind of have two different storm systems to worry about. One that's kind of finishing up right now, although if you're in the Northeast, it's really just getting started. So we're definitely going to break that down. And then we have what I think will be a really impactful system during the middle and second half of this week that is likely going to produce widespread severe weather and pretty widespread winter storm conditions as well. So we're going to break all of that down for you in today's video. Do want to say sorry for not having a video out yesterday, but if you watched Saturday's video, I did talk about why I did not have that out. But this week looks to be pretty good. We should have video every day, especially with this active weather ongoing. So that's the plan. So let's go ahead and get right into it so we can try to get as much information packed into one video as possible. So taking a look at radar here, this is that first system I'm talking about. This is that first storm moving through. You can see kind of this hooked shape to it, and this helped to produce a lot of really crazy weather out back into the plains last night, including some tornadoes, one that went right through Norman, Oklahoma. So I think we're still waiting on the survey to finish up and get the final rating on that, but definitely this has already been an impactful system. But if you're up here into New England and the Northeast, it's really just getting started, and we're going to have a pretty healthy snowstorm out of this for a lot of places here, even as far south as New York City seeing some snow out of this. So definitely exciting for those folks there who have not really seen that much snow this winter. And I know we're now getting into kind of the start of March, but sometimes the weather likes to play tricks on us and wait till the last second to finally give us some real winter weather. So looking at satellite though, here it is. You can see that low pressure spinning away, working its way up into New England, and it will eventually phase off the coast, and that's going to help to cause all of this snow up there into that part of the country. And because of that, we have plenty of winter weather advisories and even winter storm warnings as far south as New Jersey. So I think this is probably the first time this year sections of Jersey has seen winter storm warnings this year, and it's just about March. So I guess better late than never if you're a snow lover. But you can definitely tell the National Weather Service is expecting this to be pretty impactful up there into that part of the country. We also have a tornado watch into Ohio right now, but by the time you're watching this, most of that weather should be dissipating, and luckily that severe weather threat winding down. And then just a slew of wind advisories and high wind warnings here, kind of along the Ohio and Tennessee river valleys, just because, of course, this low pressure cranking up, causing the atmosphere to rebalance that air, and with that, you get the form of strong wind. So definitely watching for that as well right now. So taking a look at kind of just an overall view of this storm system on kind of a broad scale, I want to show this to you real quick. You can see this is what we've kind of been dealing with right now. And actually, let me move this ahead one more because this is kind of more what it looks like right now. We have a lot of rain falling here across the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, and that will continue into the overnight as the system continues to push eastbound. So by the time we get into the next couple of hours, we're dealing with some rain really all the way down into the mid-Atlantic and even into the southeast, as well as kind of the Midwest from Pittsburgh back over towards Ohio. And as we get into tonight, though, that's also whenever I expect this thing to really start producing some snow up here into New England. So you'll see that as we go into the overnight, that this kind of precipitation is able to run into this cold high pressure up here that's funneling in cold air, and you're going to get some snow with that. So you can see this is pretty far south, this snow, even into northern New Jersey, Long Island seeing snow, Boston, and then lighter snow further to the north into kind of sections of Maine. And just to give you a time frame here, this is going into about tomorrow morning, pretty widespread snow falling in New England. Even into tomorrow afternoon, the snow should become lighter, but still falling for most of us before finally winding down tomorrow evening. So to give you a more in-depth look at this here, we'll look at our kind of high-resolution models. And I do expect that snow to begin to break out into places of eastern, northeastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, around the time the sun is setting tonight. So by the time this video is probably out, right around that time, we'll begin to see some snow falling here in these areas. And then as we get closer to the 7, 8 o'clock hour, we'll likely see some light rain transition to snow in New York City. So, Manhattan seeing some snow. I think a lot of Long Island seeing snow. And this will begin to pick up. It'll get pretty moderate, the snowfall, through northern New Jersey, Long Island. And then closer towards midnight tonight, that snow moving into Boston here. And, during the overnight, we've got widespread snow falling here from likely New York City, although there's a chance that could mix with some rain a little bit. But definitely, from Boston back towards New York City, I'd say 50 miles or so north of Philadelphia through northern New Jersey, seeing this snow fall. And that will continue through the overnight before beginning to slowly wind down west to east across New England, going into tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening, seeing most of that precipitation move out, besides kind of being left over into sections of Maine. But for most of us in New England, that heavier precipitation should definitely move out by the time we get into tomorrow evening. So how much snow are we talking about? I think 3 to 5 inches is going to be pretty widespread here across New England, from northern New Jersey up towards the Boston area. A place like New York City, it's tough because that rain snow line is going to be right there, but I think 1 to 3 inches is probably a pretty safe bet in New York City. And then we'll have pockets here throughout New England, especially in these higher terrains that can help enhance some of that precipitation. Could see, a 5 to 8 inch snowstorm out of this, and that's why we have those winter storm warnings up for sections of New England. So definitely a pretty impactful storm for a lot of us that haven't really seen much winter weather so far this season. So after that moves out, we're going to get a bit of a lull on Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon here, you can see things are a lot more quiet in general, although we'll likely have some storms here throughout the deep south, maybe even some of those becoming severe. But overall, Wednesday is going to be probably the quietest day really of this work week, because once we get into Thursday here, you can see things are going to go downhill pretty quick. So I think Wednesday night into Thursday, we're going to get this, warm Gulf air to really begin to advect northward. And with that, we're going to get some rain to form. And there's going to be a warm front right about here. And that is going to begin to lift north. And with that, we're going to get some low pressure to form. So you can see going here into Thursday afternoon, as that warm front begins to lift northward, we're going to get low pressure to come out of the four corners here, and then begin to feed into that warm sector produced by that warm front. And then as we get into Thursday afternoon and Friday, we're going to have a pretty big severe weather outbreak, I think, here across the south, from really Texas all the way over to the Carolinas, seeing widespread severe weather throughout these couple of days. And then you can see as that low pressure continues to crank up here going into Thursday and Friday, it's once again going to run into some cold air to the north, and we're also going to get winter storm conditions out of this for a lot of places throughout the Midwest and the Northeast. So you can see this is Friday afternoon here. This is whenever I think this thing's really going to peak out with widespread severe weather in the Carolinas, and then widespread winter storm conditions through kind of this northern sector of the storm into the Midwest and the Northeast, before eventually this thing begins to work out of the country after we get into really Sunday. But Saturday, again, going to be a very impactful day here. You can see with this thing really impacting a lot of us in the Northeast by the time we get into Saturday. So just to recap this for you, and sorry, let me back up some spoiler alerts there. Just to recap this thing's really going to get going into Wednesday night and into Thursday. So Wednesday night, we get some rain to move through the south. Into Thursday afternoon, this thing really begins to intensify, and that severe weather threat increases into the south. And then that general idea continues through Thursday and Friday, before then Saturday, this thing moves into New England and the Northeast, causing likely a winter storm through sections of that area. So that's an overview of this thing. Talking more in depth about the severe weather, this is really going to begin on Wednesday. Storm Prediction Center already has a marginal risk issued from Dallas all the way towards almost Atlanta. So we're going to get some scattered storms to form in this area, and with enough ingredients, we could get some isolated areas of some wind damage out of some of those storms. But I think once we get into Thursday and Friday is when this thing's really going to peak out. So Thursday, we already have a 30% area here from Dallas back towards Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Jackson, the Little Rock area already in this risk for Thursday. And then once we get into Friday, this moves into the Carolinas. So along the I-85 corridor, I-26 corridor, I-20 corridor, from Atlanta, Greenville, Spartanburg, Charlotte, back down towards Columbia, Charleston, and even down towards Savannah, and possibly even sections of Tennessee being in this area come Friday for the chance of severe storms. So to give you an idea of how this is going to unfold, this is the supercell composite from our GFS model, and pretty much all you need to know about this is once you start seeing these kind of areas of colors appear, that means conditions are favorable for supercells or strong storms capable of producing things like high winds and tornadoes, and maybe even hail depending on the situation. But you can see here, as we begin to move this ahead into time, going into Wednesday afternoon, I think those ingredients really begin to pick up here across the south, and that's why we have that area outlined by the Storm Prediction Center on Wednesday. So this is Wednesday afternoon. That outlines pretty well with the Storm Prediction Center's forecast right now. Then as we get into Thursday afternoon, you can see we get a big push of this kind of these ingredients to produce these strong storms back here over the Arclitect. And then as we get into Friday, we get another surge of those ingredients up through the Carolinas and Georgia, with the chance of producing some stronger storms, before luckily all of this kind of begins to work out as we get into the weekend. So that's the first part of this next storm. The next one is going to be the snow. This is our GFS ensembles. You can see having a big area here with that potential of seeing a lot of snow. And I will caution you, this is including the storm tonight as well as the one for the second half of this week. But you can see the general area under the gun here from the Midwest up through the Northeast having the highest chance of seeing very impactful snow totals from this. And then our Euro ensembles agree pretty well with that. A lot of the same areas having a big chance at seeing some big time snow out of this thing come the middle and second half of this week. So one more thing I did want to talk about here are temperatures, and it's going to be a lot of what we've seen, really, and this is going to help to fuel these storms. You can see all this really red, warm springtime temperatures taken over here across the east and southeast. This is going to help to fuel those strong storms on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So this is Wednesday afternoon. You can see a lot of above average temperatures. That continues into Thursday afternoon, and then even into Friday afternoon into the Carolinas, where we'll have that severe threat then. But then I think after this, we do get a bit of a moderation in temperatures for the second half of this weekend. And then looking kind of long range, the models have been hinting at us getting some colder air working back into the east and southeast as we get into March. So we're definitely going to watch that, and the Climate Prediction Center is even kind of showing that as well. But that's all I've got for today. Again, we got a lot coming up. We got this current system we're dealing with, and then by the time we get through the next couple of days, we're going to have to really break down that next system that's going to cause widespread severe weather and winter weather through much of the country. So if you haven't already, go ahead and consider subscribing so you can stay up to date with the latest here, and that you're always having that latest information. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, where I post pretty frequently, and that is in the description of this video or in the cover page here on my channel. But again, with all that said, I hope you have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you all tomorrow on Tuesday.